The stars looked different through the viewing screen of the Zephyrian warship. Admiral Kextar stood with his forearms crossed behind his back, watching the small blue planet spin slowly in the darkness. His black eyes held no warmth as he studied the third world from this yellow star. To him, it looked like every other planet his people had taken before. "Sir, the scouts have returned," said Commander Vexthul, bowing his massive head. Like all Zephyrians, he stood nearly 8 feet tall. His thick skin looked like armor, and sharp claws extended from each of his 4 hands. The beings call themselves humans. They seem weak and small. Kextar turned from the window. His mouth curved into what might have been a smile, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Weak and small," he repeated slowly. "Perfect for slaves, then. How many ships do they have?" "Very few, sir. Maybe 20 or 30 vessels in total. Most appear to be for research or transport. We detected no major weapons." Vexthul pulled up a display showing Earth's orbital traffic. "They have some space stations, but nothing that poses a threat to our fleet." The Admiral laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 30 ships against our 300. This will be even easier than taking the Kalari homeworld." He moved to his command chair, settling his large frame into the specially designed seat. "Have they responded to our communication request?" "Yes, sir. They wish to meet for what they call diplomatic talks. They're sending a small ship with their representatives." Kextar's expression darkened. "Diplomacy, the last refuge of the weak." He waved one of his hands dismissively. "Very well. We will meet with them. It will be amusing to see them beg before we take their world." 3 days later, in the empty space between Earth and Mars, 2 very different ships faced each other. The Zephyrian vessel looked like a massive weapon floating in the void. Its dark metal hull bristled with gun ports and missile tubes. Strange symbols covered its surface, telling the story of every world the Zephyrians had conquered. The human ship looked tiny by comparison. The research vessel, called Horizon's Dawn, appeared almost fragile next to the alien warship. Its white hull gleamed under the distant sun, and Earth's flag was painted proudly on its side. Inside the smaller ship, 4 humans prepared for the most important meeting in their species' history. Captain Jake Morrison checked his uniform one more time, in the mirror. At 45 years old, he had spent most of his life in space, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. His brown hair was starting to show gray at the temples, and worry lines marked his weathered face. As the captain of Earth's fastest research ship, he had been chosen to lead this historic mission. "The aliens are ready to receive us," said Commander Rick Santos from the bridge. Rick was younger than the captain, with dark skin and intelligent eyes that missed nothing. As head of security, he had studied every piece of information they had about the Zephyrians. What he had learned worried him greatly. Dr. Lisa Wang finished packing her scientific equipment into a small case. The young woman had devoted her life to the study of alien life forms, though until now, she had only worked with theories and computer models. Her hands shook slightly as she realized she was about to meet real aliens face to face. Ambassador Kate Phillips took a deep breath and straightened her diplomatic uniform. She was a small woman with silver hair and kind eyes, but those who knew her understood that she had one of the sharpest minds in human politics. She had negotiated peace treaties between Earth's nations and helped solve conflicts that seemed impossible. Now she faced her greatest challenge. "Remember," Kate said to the others as they prepared to board the shuttle, "we represent all of humanity today. Whatever these aliens want, we must try to find a peaceful solution." The shuttle bay of the Zephyrian warship was enormous. As the small human craft landed, Jake realized that the alien ship could easily hold 100 vessels their size. The air felt thick and smelled strange, like metal and something else he could not identify. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls, making everything look threatening. Admiral Kextar waited for them in the center of the bay, surrounded by dozens of Zephyrian warriors. Each alien stood perfectly still, their weapons visible but not raised. The effect was meant to intimidate, and Jake had to admit it was working. He had never felt so small and outnumbered. "So," the Admiral said, his voice booming in the large space, "these are the humans." He looked down at the four visitors with obvious amusement. Even smaller than our reports suggested. I am Admiral Kextar of the Zephyrian Empire. You will address me as Your Excellency or Supreme Admiral. Ambassador Phillips stepped forward, her voice calm and professional. I am Ambassador Kate Phillips, representing the United Earth government. We come in peace, hoping to establish friendly relations between our peoples. Kextar's laugh echoed off the metal walls. Friendly relations? How touching. He began walking, in a circle around the humans, forcing them to turn to keep facing him. Let me save us all some time. Your little world has resources my empire needs. Your people will serve as workers in our mines and factories. In exchange, we will allow your species to continue existing. Dr. Wang could not hide her shock. You're talking about slavery. I am talking about reality. The Admiral replied coldly. The strong take what they need from the weak. This is the way of the universe. Your choice is simple. Surrender now and live, or resist and die. Commander Santos's hand moved instinctively toward his sidearm, but Ambassador Phillips touched his arm gently. Surely we can find a better solution, she said to the alien leader. Humans have much to offer. Our scientists have made remarkable discoveries. Our engineers have solved problems that seemed impossible. Working together, both our species could benefit. The Admiral stopped walking and stared at her. For a moment, something like curiosity flickered in his black eyes. Then he shook his massive head. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. What could you possibly offer the Zephyrian Empire? Dr. Wang opened her case and pulled out a small device. This is a medical scanner that can detect diseases at the cellular level before symptoms appear. We've eliminated most cancers and genetic disorders using this technology. Kextar glanced at the device without interest. We have our own medical technology. What about this? Captain Morrison showed them a small computer tablet. Our artificial intelligence systems can solve complex mathematical problems in seconds. They help us navigate space and manage our cities. Crude compared to our computers, the Admiral said dismissively. Ambassador Phillips tried one more time. Perhaps we could establish trade agreements, share knowledge and resources peacefully. Both our civilizations could grow stronger together. The alien leader's expression hardened. You still do not understand. There will be no negotiation, no trade agreements, no partnership. He stepped closer to the humans, his massive form casting them in shadow. I am giving you one chance because I am merciful. Surrender your world, or watch it burn. The silence that followed felt heavy and dangerous. Finally, Ambassador Phillips spoke. How long do we have to consider your offer? 72 of your hours, Kextar replied. When that time is up, my fleet will move to your solar system. Any ship that tries to resist will be destroyed. Any city that refuses to surrender will be reduced to ash. I suggest you use the time wisely to convince your leaders to be reasonable. As the humans returned to their shuttle, Commander Santos whispered to Captain Morrison, Did you get readings on their weapons? Jake nodded grimly. Everything we could manage without being obvious about it. Dr. Wang clutched her medical scanner tightly. They dismissed everything we showed them. They think we're primitives. Ambassador Phillips looked back at the alien warship as their shuttle pulled away. Perhaps that's for the best, she said, quietly. Let them underestimate us. They have no idea what humans are capable of when we're backed into a corner. As the Horizon's dawn began its journey back to Earth, Admiral Kextar watched from his command center. Pathetic creatures, he said to his officers. This will be the easiest conquest in the Empire's history. Behind him, the Zephyrian War Council began planning the invasion of Earth. They had no way of knowing they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. They were about to learn why, throughout human history, the most dangerous animal had always been the one with nothing left to lose. The emergency meeting room in the White House had never seen so many worried faces. President Helen Carter sat at the head of the long table, her gray hair pulled back strictly, and her blue eyes focused on the reports in front of her. Around the table sat the most powerful people on Earth, all trying to process what they had just heard. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," the president said slowly. "These aliens gave us 3 days to surrender the entire planet. Or they will destroy us?" Ambassador Phillips nodded grimly. "That's correct, Madam President. Admiral Kextar was very clear. He sees humans as a slave species and Earth as a resource to be harvested." General Paul Bennett leaned forward in his chair. He was a large man, with broad shoulders and hands scarred from years of military service. His voice was calm but carried an edge of controlled anger. "How many ships are we facing?" Captain Morrison answered. "Our sensors detected at least 300 vessels in their main fleet. Each one is larger than anything we have in our public fleet." "Public fleet," repeated Admiral Susan Drake with a slight smile. She was a small woman with sharp features and eyes that seemed to see everything. As head of the Space Navy, she knew secrets that most people in the room could only guess at. "That's an interesting choice of words, Captain." General Tony Walsh of the Colonial Marines spoke up. "Ma'am, with respect, maybe it's time to stop pretending." He was a tough man who had spent years fighting in the outer colonies. His weathered face showed the strain of keeping Earth's greatest secret. These aliens have no idea what they're really dealing with. President Carter looked around the room slowly. "Dr. Turner, give me the real assessment, not the public version we show the media. The real one." Dr. Alex Turner stood up and activated a holographic display in the center of the room. He was younger than most people there, but his eyes held the intensity of a man who had spent years preparing for this exact moment. What the aliens saw was our civilian technology, research ships, cargo haulers, and basic space stations. What they didn't see was this. The hologram showed a massive space station hidden in the asteroid belt. Its surface bristled with weapons that looked nothing like the simple tools on Earth's public vessels. "This is Deep Space Platform 7. It's one of 12 hidden installations throughout the solar system. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a fleet." General Bennett smiled for the first time since the meeting began. "How long until they're all operational?" "They already are, sir. We've been preparing for hostile first contact for 20 years. Every mining colony has hidden weapons. Every research station has a secret military purpose. Every cargo ship can convert to a warship within hours." Admiral Drake activated another display. This one showed sleek warships unlike anything the aliens had seen. "The Vengeful Spirit finished construction last month. She's our newest dreadnought, completely invisible to alien sensors. Captain Morrison, the weapons you saw on their ships?" Jake looked puzzled. "They seemed powerful, but I noticed they relied heavily on energy shields and plasma weapons." "Exactly what we expected," Dr. Turner said with satisfaction. "We've designed every weapon specifically to counter their technology. Our quantum disruption torpedoes will pass right through their shields. Our kinetic cannons will shred their armor like paper." Colonel Steve Hayes had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. "Sir, our hidden defense network is fully active. The aliens think they're approaching a defenseless world. Instead, they'll find the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy." President Carter stood up and walked to the large window overlooking the city. People below were going about their normal lives, unaware that their world was about to change forever. "How many people know the truth about our real military capability?" "Maybe 1,000 worldwide," General Bennett replied. "Everyone with security clearance Alpha 7 or higher. The alien threat was always considered the most likely scenario, so we've been ready." "What about the colonies?" asked the president. Lieutenant Colonel Maria Rodriguez spoke from her position near the door. She was responsible for coordinating with Earth's off-world settlements. "Mars colony has 40,000 people. They think they're miners and researchers. What they don't know is that every piece of mining equipment is actually military hardware. The plasma drills can punch holes through battleship armor. The cargo haulers are disguised assault ships." Dr. Turner brought up another display showing the Jupiter system. "Our gas mining platforms around Jupiter aren't just collecting fuel. They're manufacturing antimatter weapons. The Europa research base isn't studying ice samples. It's building the most advanced fighter craft in human history." General Walsh grinned. And every colonist has been through what they think is basic safety training. What it really was is military combat preparation. When the aliens attack, they're not going to find helpless civilians. They're going to find soldiers who've been training for this their whole lives. The president turned back to face the room. What about our intelligence on the aliens themselves? Commander Santos opened his tablet and began reading from his notes. They're physically larger and stronger than humans, but they're also slower. Their reaction time is about 30% worse than ours. They depend on heavy armor and brute force tactics. Dr. Wang added her observations. Their biology is adapted for a high-gravity world with a thick atmosphere. In normal space conditions, they'll tire quickly and have trouble with precise movements. Their sensory organs are designed for their homeworld's conditions, which means they have blind spots we can exploit. More importantly, Dr. Turner continued, their technology follows very rigid patterns. They don't adapt or improvise. Once we understand their systems, they'll be predictable. Humans, on the other hand, excel at thinking on our feet and changing tactics instantly. Admiral Drake pulled up a star chart showing the solar system. Here's what I propose. We let them come to us. Let them think they're attacking a weak, defenseless world. When they arrive, we hit them with everything we have. Not just our hidden weapons, but our real advantage. Which is? Asked President Carter. Human stubbornness, General Bennett said with a hard smile. Every species the aliens have conquered before surrendered when faced with superior numbers. Humans don't surrender. We adapt, we learn, and we keep fighting until we win. Colonel Rodriguez stood up. Ma'am, our people are already moving into position. The alien admiral thinks he has 72 hours to prepare for an easy victory. What he actually has is 72 hours for us to turn this solar system into the biggest trap in galactic history. President Carter walked back to her chair and sat down. Are we really ready for this? We're talking about war with an alien empire that has conquered dozens of worlds. Dr. Turner's expression was deadly serious. Madam President, the question isn't whether we're ready for war with them. The question is whether they're ready for war with us. Every species they've conquered before was peaceful. They've never faced humans in combat. What makes us so different? She asked. General Walsh answered. Every other species they conquered had something to lose. They had worlds to protect, populations to save, cultures to preserve. When faced with superior numbers, they chose survival over victory. And humans? Admiral Drake smiled coldly. Humans have never met a fight we didn't think we could win. We don't fight to survive. We fight to make sure our enemies never threaten us again. Captain Morrison had been quiet for most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. Ma'am, I looked into that alien admiral's eyes. He sees us as insects to be stepped on. He has no idea that he just threatened the most dangerous species in the galaxy. President Carter looked around the room one more time. Very well, General. Bennett, you have authorization to implement Protocol Defiance. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity. As the meeting ended and people began filing out, Dr. Turner remained behind. Ma'am, there's one more thing. Our AI systems have been analyzing every piece of data we collected from the alien ship. We're not just going to fight them. We're going to learn from them, adapt their technology, and make it better. The president nodded. Good. When this is over, I want to make sure no other alien species ever makes the same mistake as Admiral Kextar. Outside the White House, life continued as normal. But across the solar system, humanity's greatest secret was finally awakening. Hidden weapons came online, disguised warships prepared for battle, and millions of humans who thought they were simple colonists and workers began receiving coded messages that would change everything. The aliens had 72 hours to prepare for what they thought would be an easy conquest. Humanity had 72 hours to prepare for total war. The countdown had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn why you should never provoke humans when they have nothing left to lose. Admiral Kextar stood on the bridge of his flagship as the Zephyrian fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Through the viewing screen, he could see the small blue planet in the distance. His black eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he counted the human ships moving to meet them. 37 vessels, reported Commander Vexthal. Just as our scouts predicted, this will be over quickly. The alien admiral laughed. Look at them. Tiny ships trying to face the might of the Zephyrian Empire. Their courage is admirable, but courage cannot stop plasma cannons. He turned to his weapons officer. Prepare to fire. We will destroy half their fleet with the first attack. The rest will surrender. But something was wrong. As the Zephyrian fleet moved forward, space around them began to light up with weapon signatures. What had appeared to be empty space suddenly filled with human ships. Platforms that looked like asteroids revealed themselves as massive weapon stations. Cargo vessels shed their outer hulls to show sleek warships underneath. Sir. Vexthol's voice cracked with shock. I'm reading over 200 human vessels and more are appearing every second. Admiral Drake stood on the bridge of her flagship Iron Will, watching the alien fleet with cold satisfaction. She was a small woman, but her presence filled the command center. Around her, human officers worked with quiet efficiency that spoke of years of training for this exact moment. All ships, this is Admiral Drake, she spoke into her communicator. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not bow to anyone. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and make every shot count. The first exchange of fire changed everything. Captain Nick Davis commanded the destroyer Relentless, positioned at the front of the human formation. When the alien plasma beams reached his ship, they struck his shields and simply stopped. The quantum barriers absorbed the energy like water hitting a sponge. Their weapons can't penetrate our defenses, Nick reported with amazement. Dr. Turner's shields are working perfectly. Then let's show them what our weapons can do, Admiral Drake replied. All ships, fire at will. The quantum torpedoes launched from the human ships moved too fast for the alien sensors to track properly. When they struck the Zephyrian vessels, they passed right through their energy shields as if they weren't there. The first alien cruiser simply disappeared in a flash of light. Admiral Kextar watched in horror as 3 more of his ships exploded in quick succession. How is this possible? Their technology looked primitive. Sir, our weapons are having no effect on their ships, but their weapons are destroying us easily, Vexthol reported, his voice filled with panic. The battle spread quickly through the solar system. Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster led a squadron of human fighters that danced between the massive alien ships like deadly insects. Her pilots had been enhanced with neural interfaces that connected their minds directly to their spacecraft. They moved with a precision and speed that the alien gunners could not match. Fox Squadron, target their weapon systems, Amy ordered. Let's see how tough they are when they can't shoot back. The human fighters swarmed over a Zephyrian battleship, their small but powerful weapons cutting through its armor like a hot knife through ice. Within minutes, the massive vessel was drifting helpless, its guns silent and its engines dead. Captain Laura Kim commanded the carrier Defiant Storm from her position near Jupiter. Her ship launched wave after wave of automated drones, each one controlled by artificial intelligence that learned from every battle. The drones attacked in perfect coordination, sharing information instantly and adapting their tactics in real time. The AI is working better than we hoped, her tactical officer reported. Each drone destroyed teaches the others how to fight more effectively. On Mars, Major Dan Cooper led the Colonial Defense Forces as Zephyrian shock troops attempted to land on the Red Planet. The aliens expected to find helpless civilians and research stations. Instead, they found soldiers who had been training in the harsh Martian environment for years. Remember, boys and girls, Dan spoke into his communicator as alien dropships approached. These big ugly monsters think we're weak. Let's show them what colonial toughness really means. The Martian colonists opened fire with weapons that the aliens had dismissed as mining equipment. Plasma drills designed to cut through. Solid rock made short work of alien armor. Industrial explosives created massive craters where alien landing craft tried to touch down. Commander Beth Miller coordinated the defense of the Jupiter mining stations, where workers revealed themselves as trained militia. The battle around Jupiter's moons became a nightmare for the aliens as humans used their intimate knowledge of the local environment to devastating effect. Use the radiation belt, Beth ordered her ships. Force them into the high energy zone where their sensors go blind. The alien pilots, unused to such dangerous conditions, found themselves flying blind while human ships, protected by better shielding, picked them off one by one. Dr. Turner watched the battle from his command center on Earth, monitoring the performance of every human weapon and defensive system. His adaptive AI was learning from each engagement, finding new ways to exploit alien weaknesses. Admiral Drake, I'm uploading new targeting data to all ships, he reported. The AI has identified critical weak points in their hull design. Concentrate, fire on the power junctions just behind their main weapon arrays. The effect was immediate. Human gunners began hitting spots that caused cascading system failures throughout alien ships. Vessels that should have taken hundreds of hits to destroy were disabled with just a few well-placed shots. Admiral Kextar realized his fleet was being destroyed piece by piece. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. We need to regroup and analyze their tactics. But the humans had no intention of letting them escape. Admiral Drake's voice echoed across the human fleet. They came here to conquer us. Let's make sure they understand the price of threatening humanity. Captain Morrison, now commanding the battleship Unconquered, led the pursuit. His massive ship had been disguised as a simple research vessel when the aliens first saw it. Now it revealed its true nature, bristling with weapons that had been developed specifically to fight alien invaders. Jake, you're clear to use the experimental weapons, Admiral Drake authorized. Let's see what our new toys can do. Morrison smiled grimly. With pleasure, ma'am. All weapons, target the alien flagship. Let's send Admiral Kextar a message he won't forget. The experimental weapons struck the Zephyrian flagship with devastating effect. Systems designed by human engineers to exploit every weakness in alien technology tore through the massive ship's defenses. Kextar felt his vessel shudder around him as explosions rocked the hull. Sir, we have to abandon ship, Vexthul reported. Hull breach on all decks, life support failing. As the alien survivors fled in escape pods, Admiral Kextar looked back at the destruction of his once mighty fleet. Of the 300 ships he had brought to conquer humanity, less than 50 remained functional. The humans had not just defeated them, they had crushed them completely. General Bennett watched the battle results from Earth's command center. Casualty report? Minimal human losses, sir. We lost 12 ships total. The aliens lost over 250 vessels. President Carter joined him at the display. Is it over? Bennett shook his head. This was just their advance force. Intelligence reports indicate the main Zephyrian fleet is mobilizing. They'll be back with everything they have. Good, the president said quietly. Let them come. Now they know what humans are capable of. And we're just getting started. In the wreckage of space around Earth, rescue ships moved to collect alien survivors. The humans treated their prisoners well, following the laws of war that Earth had, developed over centuries of conflict. But the message was clear. Humanity would defend itself with every weapon at its disposal. Admiral Kextar, floating in his escape pod, sent an emergency message to the Zephyrian homeworld. Do not underestimate the humans, he warned. They are not the weak species we believed. They are warriors unlike any we have faced. But it was already too late. The Zephyrian Empire had committed its full military might to crushing the humans. The real war was about to begin. 6 months had passed since Admiral Kextar's defeat, and the galaxy held its breath. Every alien species knew that the mighty Zephyrian Empire was preparing for total war against the small world called Earth. Emperor Velthok himself had taken command of the largest fleet in galactic history. Over 1,000 warships moved through space toward the human solar system. But Earth was no longer the same world the aliens had first threatened. General Bennett stood in the war room beneath the Pentagon, surrounded by displays showing human, military forces throughout the galaxy. The past 6 months had changed everything. Status report, he ordered. Colonel Rodriguez pointed to a star map. Our advance fleets are in position at Proxima Centauri, Wolf 359, and the Barnard's star system. Every approach route to Earth is covered. The aliens will have to fight through 3 defensive lines before they even reach our solar system. Admiral Drake smiled coldly. And each defensive line is stronger than the entire fleet that destroyed Kextar's forces. Dr. Turner had spent the months upgrading human technology with captured alien systems, but where the aliens simply copied their enemies' weapons, humans improved them. The new quantum cannons are ready for testing. Our shields can now absorb enemy fire and convert it into power for our own weapons. And the AI systems have been studying alien tactics for 6 months. President Carter looked tired but determined. The weight of leading humanity in its first galactic war showed in her eyes. How many ships do we have now? 800 combat vessels, ma'am, Admiral Drake reported. Plus support ships, automated defense platforms, and the new dreadnoughts. But our real advantage isn't numbers. What is our advantage? The president asked. General Walsh grinned. The aliens are still thinking like conquerors. They want to defeat us and rule over what's left. We're thinking like humans. We want to make sure they never threaten anyone again. The first battle began at Proxima Centauri, where Captain Morrison commanded the massive defense station called Iron Gate. His orders were simple: delay the alien fleet and gather intelligence. What happened instead shocked both sides. The Zephyrian fleet arrived expecting to brush aside a small human force. Emperor Velthak watched from his throne ship as 1,000 vessels prepared to attack what his sensors showed as 50 human ships guarding a single space station. Destroy them quickly, the Emperor ordered. I want to reach Earth within the week. But when the alien fleet opened fire, space erupted with surprises. The space station split apart into 12 separate warships, each one larger than anything the aliens had faced before. The 50 escort ships revealed themselves as advanced carriers, launching hundreds of fighters and automated attack drones. Captain Morrison's voice echoed across the human fleet. All ships, remember what these monsters plan to do to Earth. Show them what humans do to bullies. The battle was nothing like the aliens expected. Human ships moved with impossible coordination, as if controlled by a single mind. Dr. Turner's AI systems had learned to predict alien movements so well that human captains knew where enemy ships would be before the aliens did. Commander Santos, now Admiral Santos, led a strike force that attacked the alien fleet's supply ships. While the main alien force focused on the human warships, Santos destroyed their fuel depots and ammunition carriers. Within hours, the mighty Zephyrian fleet was running low on supplies. Sir, reported the alien tactical officer to Emperor Velthak, we're losing ships faster than we can replace them. The humans fight unlike any species we've encountered. The Emperor's face twisted with rage. Impossible. We outnumber them 20-1. Numbers don't matter when the enemy knows exactly what you're going to do, Admiral Santos replied over the open communication channel. Somehow the humans had broken into the alien command frequency. You fight like you always have. We fight like we need to win. The second battle took place at Wolf 359, where Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster commanded a mobile defense force. She had learned from the first battle and prepared new tactics. Instead of meeting the aliens head-on, her ships used hit-and-run attacks that drove the enemy fleet into carefully prepared traps. Ghost Squadron attack their rear guard, Amy ordered. Phantom Wing hit their left flank. Dragon Group take out their command ships. The human fighters moved through space like deadly shadows. Enhanced pilots with neural interfaces controlled ships that responded to their thoughts as quickly as their reflexes. Alien gunners, still using manual targeting systems, could not keep up with the lightning-fast human attack craft. Dr. Wang's Biological Warfare Division had been busy during the 6 months of preparation. They had studied captured alien prisoners and developed weapons specifically designed to exploit Zephyrian physiology. Gas attacks that were harmless to humans left alien crews unconscious. Sonic weapons tuned to alien hearing frequencies caused panic and confusion. Deploy the neural scramblers, Wang ordered from her research ship. Let's see how well they fight when they can't think clearly. The effect was immediate. Alien ships began firing on each other as their crews lost the ability to distinguish friend from enemy. Ships that had been perfectly coordinated moments before scattered in all directions. The final battle took place in Earth's solar system itself, but not where the aliens expected. Instead of defending Earth directly, Admiral Drake had positioned the main human fleet near Jupiter. When Emperor Velthak's remaining forces arrived, they found themselves fighting in a gravity well that the humans knew intimately, but the aliens did not. Captain Laura Kim launched the largest drone attack in galactic history. Thousands of automated fighters swarmed the alien fleet, each one controlled by an AI that had learned from every previous battle. The drones worked together with perfect coordination, sacrificing themselves to destroy larger alien ships. "Target the Emperor's flagship," Admiral Drake ordered. "End this war by cutting off the head." The assault on the throne ship was led by Colonel Rodriguez's Marine Force. Human soldiers, enhanced with combat drugs and protected by armor that incorporated the best of human and alien technology, boarded the massive vessel. What they found inside were alien warriors who had never faced humans in close combat. The Zephyrians were larger and stronger, but humans were faster and more adaptable. More importantly, humans fought with a ferocity that terrified their enemies. These were not the weak, peaceful beings the aliens had expected. These were warriors who had spent their entire history fighting each other and had learned to be very good at it. Emperor Velthak fell to a human weapon designed specifically to counter alien biology. As the throne ship exploded, the remaining Zephyrian fleet finally understood what they were truly facing. These humans did not just defend themselves, they eliminated threats completely. The surrender ceremony took place in Earth's orbit. Admiral Kextar, one of the few surviving alien commanders, knelt before President Carter as she dictated terms. The Zephyrian Empire would be dissolved. All conquered worlds would be freed. War crimes trials would be held for alien leaders. "Why?" Kextar asked quietly. "You could rule the galaxy now. Why give freedom to worlds you've never seen?" President Carter looked down at the defeated alien with something like pity. "Because that's what humans do. We don't conquer. We liberate." 10. Years later, Ambassador Phillips addressed the Galactic Council as humanity's representative. Around her sat delegates from dozens of species, including former Zephyrian colonies that were now free worlds. Children of former enemies learned alongside human children in schools throughout the galaxy. But everyone remembered the lesson Earth had taught the universe. Memorial walls on 100 worlds listed the names of those who had died learning why you should never provoke humans. The galaxy was safer now, protected by a species that refused to accept defeat and would never allow another empire to terrorize the innocent. In the end, the aliens had been right about one thing. Humans were different from every other species they had encountered. The difference was that humans had never learned how to give up.